Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Holly Paul. Holly Paul is not only a lovely co-worker of mine, but she's also an old friend. We're all excited about actually getting back together again and doing this. She's done my show before. Holly has a unique, ability to get you more in touch, not only with yourself, but with others. And so first I'm going to welcome. Let me say welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to have you.
Me too.
Let me tell you a little bit about the Coaching Game. This show is based on the fantastic Coaching Game, the Points of View Coaching Game. And what this game is, it was created in Israel, and it is designed to bring right and left brain thinking together. And I always ask my guests, please pick a card. And I just wasn't surprised at all when Holly picked the intimacy card. And when she started explaining why she picked it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is totally different than what we're normally dealing with for intimacy. So I guess, Holly, first tell us why you picked this card. And we only have...
Now, I love this card. I love this card so much. Intimacy is the embodiment pretty much of a full sense of self. Okay, so
that's a
come
beautiful
on,
way to
Laurie.
say that.
What is
what we were saying, we love this card because normally you would think of a man and a woman kissing and hugging, and here we have two children. I believe they're boys, but that's not determined, on the beach. Doing what? How can this be intimacy?
Well, this is what intimacy is all about. And so if you ask 9 out of 10 people or stop on the street and go, excuse me, what does intimacy mean to you? Sex, 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 sex. You're going to have it going down the block all the way to Central Park.
The only answer.
Well, because that's what's conjured up in the subconscious mind. It's primal and it comes right to the conscious head. But that's not what intimacy is.
But you know what? When you think about it, you can definitely have sex without intimacy. So they can't be synonymous with one another.
No,
I mean,
sex is biology. Let's not mix the two.
All right.
Sex is biology.
Okay.
And it's an amazing energy. Oh my God. But it has nothing to do with true and enduring and everlasting intimacy. Intimacy is emotional bonding.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So what happens is, let's talk about childhood, because we have to go back to that point, because these are children.
Yeah, true.
Okay? So when a child grows up in a loving home where there's expression of love, and that child is made to feel safe, okay? Safe, and develops, keyword, develops a sense of trust. Trust of himself, trust of the people in his environment. He is going to bond with himself. There's an emotional bond because he has safety and trust. And that means his little world, that little sphere as he's growing, has not been violated. Therefore, his childhood friends, as this photo, he feels free. Laughter, vulnerability, ability to laugh, share emotions. It's a sense of unveilment. And so when these two boys grow up, they will be able to commit emotionally in an intimate relationship with a man or a woman of their choice.
Okay. Let me ask you something. So if the safety and trust requirements for intimacy. Now, where do the walls come from? Because we all build walls, we all keep people out, we let people in. Where does that come from?
Right here, at this age. This is where it comes from. So if a child is growing up in an environment, or in a volatile family, perhaps addictive behaviors, and I didn't say drugs or alcohol, although that may be the case, but more addictive behaviors insofar as being condescending, demeaning your children, never praising them, always being punished, as opposed to the encouraging factor, the support, the emotional support of your children. That's where trust, love, and safety is fostered and developed. Those are the processes. So where a child is in an inexpressive home, he suddenly becomes isolated. and he crawls into himself.
Now, is that bonding with yourself, or is that retreating into yourself?
This is retreating and actually staying isolated from the world, not being able, because a child has to feel safe, Laurie.
Yeah, yeah.
If a child doesn't feel safe in his immediate environment, he then builds the walls of protection.
I'm thinking, what's coming to mind? Bullying, and it's such a big problem now. It's like, and I'm sure that in order to get through that experience, you need some walls, because you can't feel all that. I think, I know not about what I'm speaking, but it's just something that has to have a detrimental effect on the person who's trying to grow.
Bullying is all, it's part of the negative experience in the home where the child, A, didn't matter, B, doesn't know what love is, never felt it, never was shown it.
And never had self-love.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. So love is always an extension. Love is always birthed, is our divine birthright. And that's the way it is. We are birthed into a beautiful, loving situation. Now, when the environment upon us or upon children is detrimental, is hurtful, is abusive, is violating, is inexpressive, and is isolating, then there's no bonding going on. Not within the self. It's a defect. It's a defective manner, and the growth and development of a child, hence, grows and develops in this isolation, where then emotional intimacy becomes the flight, where a man or a woman, now grown, 30 years later, is running. The minute intimacy comes about, we're not talking sexual intimacy, bonding, because that's the deepest reverential connection two humans can have, emotional bonding on any level. And the deeper your own intimacy, the deeper the intimacy is in with your connecting with another, whether it is with a person, whether it is with the sea that you're intimate with, whether you're intimate with a mountain and you're all there by yourself on skis, or you're intimate with God. That's intimacy. You have to develop that. And that stems from trust of the self.
Let me pull Holly closer
so
she can be intimate.
I got to get intimate.
You don't have to be that intimate, but yes.
So this is why adults fly. Because they're scared to death of emotional bonding. They don't want to access their deepest parts of themselves with the shadows.
So let me ask you a question. Where do you come in? Because all of us have at least built one wall. I'm going to feel really comfortable in saying that. So where do you come in, and what do you do to help people get back in touch with, or maybe for the first time ever, establish this self-intimacy?
Okay, perfect question, thank you. So someone has to say to me, and I've had a few couples that that has happened with, I don't know, how do I find my feelings? It's like they ran off by themselves. Well, that's truly the metaphor, like they had legs and the feelings ran away. Well, the truth is, feelings get stuffed up. They get stuffed down with alcohol to be numbed out. People do drugs because they just don't want to feel it. They want to get numb.
Right.
Anything to get numb. They don't want to feel the pain that they felt 40 years ago. So they numb it out, and they never have that window into their own feelings. Now they come to me and say, Holly, help me. Okay, so we sit down and we start. And we talk about, well, what brings you real joy? Let's talk about it. What brings you real joy? Forget all the drama now in your life. Forget all the chaos and the hurdles. Let's talk about what puts a smile on your face. And somebody said to me, I love flying kites. I haven't flown a kite in 50 years. One guy said to me, I was coaching him. He owns a karate studio out in Suffolk County. He came to me and he said to me, I just love getting in a kayak. I remember that growing up on a lake. I said, well, why don't you have a kayak? Why don't you have a kayak? Well, I I dismissed it. I never thought about it again since adulthood. So it's been, he said, Holly, it's been 30 years. I said, well, don't you take vacations? And he said to me, yes, but never on a lake. I always go golfing with the boys. I said, okay, does golfing make you feel good, and does it bring the same pleasure? And he said, no. So, see, awareness.
Yes, that's trick number one.
Awareness
Yes, yeah.
is quintessentially a huge key to unlock somebody to start or to begin to talk about what brings them joy. And it comes from the marrow. It doesn't come from, the skim on the top of the chicken soup. It's got to be deep down where the vegetables are cooking. That's
I like that.
That's where the nutrients are, inside of you. So I help people access their feelings, their deepest, heartiest, most bountiful feelings, so that they can get back in touch with what matters, what is purposeful, what is their life, what meaning is their life now providing for themselves, and is it allowing the fullness or the robustness of what they want? And if not, why?
Well, I find that the question that I ask that most often gets the deer in the headlight is like, what do you want? And they'll go, what do I want? And it's like people have never really, it's like, well, I need to want this, and I should want this, and I have to have that, but they've never really, what do you want? And that, do you find that? Is that what you?
I don't do the what you want. I go more right to the feelings, because the feelings uncover the joys that have been sort of, I want to say, stuffed under the bed like a gremlin. And those are the joys, or they've been stashed in the closet,
Or put
or
aside.
they've been put aside for 40 and 50 years, growing
Exactly.
cobwebs.
Exactly.
And then they're in relationships or trying to form a relationship and say, these negative patterns are plaguing me again. It's scary, and I don't want to face it. I left that in relationship, and then I went back to that relationship, and I keep going back to the same thing. And
Nothing works.
Nothing's working. All they want is sex. And sex is not, it's an illusion of a filler. What you're truly searching for is your own intimacy.
Okay, sex is an illusion of a filler. Okay, and because you can't fill yourself up with that until you're full of yourself.
You're exhausted after sex and far emptier where there's no deep bonding. So sex and intimacy are not one and the same. Intimacy is the deepest emotional bonding and connection you can have with another soul, where you're not, you go through the flesh. It's not about the flesh, it's through the flesh. And so at that point, you're not a nomad anymore looking in the desert thirsting for a watering hole. You are now connecting to your feelings, to your vulnerabilities, to your fears, to your doubts, to your secrets, to your fantasies, and you're able to laugh. You're able to open to somebody like a window to this, like a plant to the sun almost, and say, hi, I love feeling your warmth. That's what intimacy is.
Rather than opening and saying, fill me up, it's like opening and saying, here, I have this to give.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful, yeah.
It's really the truth. And in fact, an enduring relationship is far more full of joy in the long run than just little bits of sex along the way with no intimacy will have no meaning. Where emotional intimacy can endure infinity, even if people have sexual issues as they get older. And this occurs both with men and women. You've got to transcend that, and you can when you're fully bonded with another person. There is no more walls, you've torn them down. There is no more shadows that you're scared to show, or you're scared to go into that chamber of your soul. You've bared that. That's the deepest emotional bonding you can have and desire and want. And that's what most people need and continue to go out looking for it. And subconsciously they're filling it with sex when that's not what they need at all. They're looking for the emotional bonding that they never had as children.
So your job, or mission, is to help people, one, bond with themselves so that they can create more fulfilling and complete bonds with other people.
Absolutely.
Wow. Let me tell you that Holly on Facebook has the most beautiful, I don't know if I want to call it company, but it's a page called Love Light Coaching. You can find it on Facebook. And you're going to find, and it's a weird little page, but it's always erotic, and erotic in the sense that it's like you're not going to see hardcore porn, but you're going to see beautiful bodies and people together and people alone looking out a window, and just tell us how that came about.
Well, I'm a poet at heart, Laurie.
Yeah, you will see that when you go to the page. Yes.
I'm a poet at heart, and I do write poetry, and I'm very moved by beauty, existentially, and nature. And I'm a solitude. I walk. Shall I say? Let me rephrase that. I love my solitude. I'm always at nature and the sea. Very inspired musically, and I'm a dancer. And so put that all together, and I keep drama, chaos, and anything negative. It's like the cross, you know? It's like that vampire cross. I keep that energy vibe far and away and distant from me. And I'm a happy soul. I sleep peaceful at night. My skin certainly shows it. You wouldn't know my age, so don't
I commented on how good she looks. I go, what are you doing? She goes, it's a peaceful soul. I have a peaceful soul. And I went, okay.
I have a very peaceful soul. I walk alone. And
but that doesn't mean you can't allow other people in. Or does it?
I love and engage with others that vibe on my frequency, that are feeling nature, that are feeling music, that want to talk about ideas, ideas and more ideas, and flowering and blossoming and blooming and thoughts and creative souls move me. That's who I am, and that's the bare truth. And so lower energy levels, I will assist, guide, take hands with, offer my cup of water and love, but not in my living room.
You may not get invited over.
Well, no, but I will teach and share and guide, but I have boundaries.
Yeah.
And those boundaries are vitally important for anyone to learn about a filter and discernment and who you want coming through that filter. If you have no filter, anything, it can invade you.
And you spend a lot of energy correcting it, rationalizing it, eliminating it even. So if you put the boundary up. Let me ask you, because I want to get into that more and what we can do, but what's the significance of horses? Because you're going to see some of the most gorgeous horses. So what's the deal with the horses?
I've been riding since I'm 7. I love horses. That's maybe my totem. Maybe it's a signpost. I don't know, but I love horses, and I ride them in the sea. I go every year, and I ride bareback, and I feel like I'm on the back of a dragonfly going through the air. It's amazing for me. I love the feeling of mounting this majestic creature and flying with him on the dunes.
Yeah. I think we can tell it the way she's talking about it. And I'm sure you know there are equine academies where horses are used in coaching. And it's a whole bunch, and again, it's, you know what, it comes right back to intimacy. It's a trust factor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a huge trust factor. For me to get off a horse and to have somebody help me and take his full saddle off, it's heavy, and to have a wrangler hold his cup, his hands, and for me to
jump on up,
get back right on that baby, and he's just sitting there waiting patiently
But it's trust
There's
between the both
that's
of you.
the point I'm making.
Yeah,
There's
got
a
it.
communication that goes on with any animal,
Yeah.
be it a cat, a horse, a lion. If I came face to face with a lion, I'd probably sit there and look right in his eyes. And he'd probably turn and walk away. When you show anything fear, that's when they come to tumble right upon you.
Yeah, or you instill fear in that person too.
Well,
It's like, wait, what is she afraid
But
of?
it's
I
no
should be
differently
afraid.
from beast to human. It's no
yeah.
different. The minute you look at a human or cannot look them in the eye, you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
You know exactly. If I can't look at you straight in the eye, it's the
Something's up.
same with an animal. If you see an animal, why? You're invading his space. If you happen to be in the country and you run across a deer and you stop quiet and you sit down in the grass and hang out, he won't go anywhere. But if you turn and run, well, he's going to be as scared as you were.
Right.
The lion won't be.
No. So remember that. That's interesting, though. That's a great, I don't know, I guess example of true bonding, the horse. And I wonder why they chose horses as the coaching partners.
It is a coaching partner, the
Yeah.
horse. Because he's a deepened soul. A horse has a deep, deep soul. He's a magnanimous creature.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Magnanimous, whether it's a Mustang that's free and wild, or a stallion bred, an Arabian stallion, or an Appaloosa. They're just, or a Friesian. They're exquisite creatures. They're majestic flyers, and they represent and they honor the velocity of flight, much like a bird, but movement, and life is
yeah.
movement. That's
Yeah.
what life is all about. And coaching is all about movement. Taking a step,
further, right?
yes, forward, having a goal set in mind, and
Maybe a little dance back and then forward again. Yes.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so a horse does the dance. He walks, then he trots. And a trots could be a two-step on a dance floor, like a Lindy.
Yes.
Well, it could be. And then he goes into this gallop, which could be like a salsa, merengue, or a mambo. Well, it's that fast speed.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof, and then he's gone. Well, it's that dance. Well, then you get a dance of lovers. You can take that dance any which way you want. But the coaching game goes beasts and humans alike. No different. It's all about developing a full sense of yourself, having a sense of trust with yourself, trusting yourself. That's where you develop your own filter. If you don't trust yourself, you have no filter, you let anything in. A sense of worth, know your value, so that you can feel free to relate to anybody, and you will be able to do that. And you won't fly away from relationships, which is what happens the minute these people, and it's masses, it's not, it's masses, men and women alike. The minute there's some sort of bonding, emotionally, boom, they're gone. Out the door, no more. They don't want anybody invading a space that feels hurtful, that I want to say that brings back a memory of pain and isolation as a child.
So bonding can be beautiful, absolutely beautiful, or it can be a fear of, or it can create a fear of vulnerability. It's
That's right.
wow, it's like, ooh, I don't know if I should let this person in, and I don't know if I even want to feel this.
I don't want to know.
Last time I felt this, I got hurt. I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then I go back as a coach, and I don't do what you do, but it's like, okay, you got hurt. What happened? You're still here. So, what did you learn? Blah, blah, blah. And, but it's hard to teach openness and vulnerability, I think.
It's got to be something that somebody sits back and says, you know what, I'm through with this. I keep repeating the same patterns, the same behaviors, and I'm thinking, why don't I have a different outcome? Why don't I? I'm years
The
older.
definition of insanity. Yes.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to because you never changed your behavior.
Yeah.
You never went back and corrected the dysfunction. You never said, do you understand that a habit is only repeated behavior? How do you think a habit is formed? By repeated behavior.
Right.
So you got to correct it at the root. You got to stop the behavior. If something is bringing you results that you don't want anymore, whether it's job situations that you don't want, people that you meet that you don't want, well, let's peel and come back. We have to find out, well, why? Why do you keep meeting the same people? What behavior are you demonstrating?
Right.
And are you aligning with your values? That's a whole...
That's a whole other show, yes. That's a whole other show. But you know what? I have a communication specialist who says if you are talking to people and someone doesn't understand, you didn't say it right. And it's like, okay, so what I hear you saying is take responsibility. You have to take responsibility. You can't say, oh my God, I attract all these losers and my life is so unlucky. You have to say, okay, what am I doing to make this happen, right?
You have to hold yourself fully accountable for your actions. If you speak in an impoverished manner, those are the people you're going to connect with. Your language.
What you get, what you
the
give
way
out, you
you
get
speak
back.
are the people you're going to connect with. The things that you enjoy doing. Whatever they are, savory or not unsavory. Well, those are the folks you're going to meet up with. Whatever those things are. If you're a librarian, that's what you're going to meet up with.
That's so interesting because when I was dating, people would go, why don't you go to bars? And it's like, because I don't drink.
Right.
So why, I'm going to meet somebody who drinks and I have to go to bars. It's like, but yeah, that makes sense.
That's precisely the point, Laurie.
Yeah.
I don't do it either. I don't drink either.
Yes.
So I don't relate to that mentality.
But why would I hang and try to find somebody who did? That doesn't make sense to me.
You would be not living your truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you couldn't be
45 seconds.
Oh boy!
So
Did
give
it
us. It went like it always.
Oh my gosh!
I want to thank you so much for coming. And
I
this
love
is so
being here with
fascinating.
you. Can we do this again?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Next time we're going to talk about what was the other thing we said that we need to talk about?
Values.
Not meeting your values.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Okay.
But I do want to encourage you. Can they just? Is that a closed page or an open page?
It's an open page.
Ah, beautiful. Okay. Love Light.
Love Light, one word, and
coaching.
Yes, as a matter of fact, there's a picture of a woman on a horse as the background.
I'm never going to look at this picture. I always go, God, she gets gorgeous horses, but what does that mean? Now I got it. I can't wait to go back and look at all your beautiful pictures.
Thank you.
We have 7 seconds, Holly Paul.
Oh gosh, Laurie.
I adore you.
Oh
You're
my God,
definitely
this
coming
is so
back.
much fun.
And I would encourage everybody to live your own values, and we'll talk about it next time.
I'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.